So here we've got a fairly complicated combat situation. As you can see, there's 2 combats already declared. There's still 14 attacker units that must attack and 4 defender hexes that must be attacked. And if I zoom out and scroll down here, you can see we've got combats all along this line here. So I thought I'd go through some of the ways that to simplify resolving these, difficult types of combats. The first is to use the go-to button where you've got it shows the 4 defender hexes. So that will cycle you through and move the camera. I'll zoom in a little bit more here so that you can see where combats still have to occur. So we'll start with the easiest one here. We've got Ottawa, and Ottawa is surrounded, and all of these attackers will have to attack Ottawa because they're adjacent, and none of them are adjacent to any other defenders, so there's no decision to make here. So probably the easiest way to do this is to use the detailed view. And if you hover over the defender hexes, the hex will be highlighted. So we'll just select Ottawa. And then on the attacker's side, you'll see that any attackers that are not adjacent are disabled. And since we know we need all of these attackers to attack, we can just choose the hex, which will select every attacker in the hex. Now there may be times in other situations where you might want to split an attack between 2 defender hexes, but in this case that's not really possible. So now you see we've got all of these units attacking basically at 15-1. So we'll declare that attack. So now I'll hide the detailed view. We're down to 3 defender hexes that must be attacked and 8 attacker units that must attack. So let's go to the next defender hex. And you'll see that we've actually got 2 defender hexes right next to each other. Von Riedesel and Fraser's Rangers. The difficulty here is that these units, the 3rd New Hampshire and the 2nd New Hampshire, either of them can attack either of these defenders, but at least one of them must attack Von Riedesel. So the first I'll go through it as if we want to attack everyone. So Von Riedesel is a 5. So if we have a single unit attack, we're going to be at 1-2. So I think the easiest thing to do would be to have this entire hex attack Von Riedesel, and then this hex attack Fraser's Rangers hex, which will unfortunately be at 1-2. But after we've cleaned up the combat, I'll go back and show you a different way you can do that. So let's look at the detailed view, and let's pick Von Riedesel's hex. And we see that there's only 1 attacker hex that's eligible to attack it. So we're just going to pick the hex and declare the attack with both of the units. So now we'll hide the detailed view and we'll go to the next defender hex. That'd be Fraser's Rangers. So let's open it up again. And this time, let's tell you what, I won't use the detailed view. I'll just use the regular. All you have to do is click anywhere in the defender's hex to select it, because you can't target individual units in a defender. But you will have to pick units in this hex. Now you'll see that Gates is grayed out. That's because leaders automatically participate. You don't select the leader as an attacking unit. It can't be a lead unit. So at this point we have this attack declared, so I'll go ahead and declare it. So now we're down to 1 defender hex that must be attacked. So let's look at that. All right, so that's the 20th, and it is surrounded by, it looks like 4 units here. So I'll pick the attackers first. I just click this, then hit tab to see the next unit in the stack. Click that, then click this one and hit tab and click that. So now I have 4 attackers selected, and I'll choose the 20th and I'll hit declare attack. But it looks like we have a problem. We still have a single attacker that must attack, and all of our defenders have been attacked. So what's happened here? Well, in the original save file, this attack had already been defined, but the 4th Massachusetts hadn't been added to the attack. And because it's adjacent, it must participate. So we're going to find which attack has defined these. And we have it here. It's this first one. So we can just cancel that attack. And then because there's no decision to make on these, we can just go ahead and hit the generate required attacks, and it will automatically pick all of the adjacent attackers. And now you'll see that all required close combats have been declared for attackers and defenders. So at this point, I'll zoom out so we can see them all. We've got a 1-2, a 4-1. You can't go higher than 4-1, even though we're actually at 15-1. We got a 1-1 and a 1-2, a 2-1, and a 3-1. So if I hit done, the game will validate that these attacks are complete and that everybody that must attack has. And you'll see that the buttons switch to resolve these attacks. So we know that those attacks are good. So now let me exit the game. And we'll reload this file. And I'll show you an alternative way to attack the one region where we were sort of forced to do a 1-1 and a 1-2, where von Riedesel was. So let's just, so if you see, von Riedesel can be attacked by a stack of 6, but even then that's just a 1-1. So what we'd like to do is, let's not attack von Riedesel, and let's instead combine these 2 stacks against Fraser's Rangers. And the way we can do that is we can create a diversion. We'll say we're going to choose a diversion. We pick the hex, confirm it. So now you see that there's now a diversion there for von Riedesel. So now, if you look at, let's look at Fraser's Rangers, select that hex. Well, there we go. And we can just pick these 2 hexes. So now we're at a 9-6, which would normally be a 3-2. But because we did a diversion, diversions are shifted 1 column to the left, which will basically make this a 1-1 attack. But a single 1-1 attack might be preferable to a 1-2 and a 1-1, for example. So we can declare that attack. And now you see that we've got an alternative attack defined for this. So I hope that's helpful, and that clears up the confusion about how to define that that attack. It was a complicated situation, and it was made worse by the 4th Massachusetts not having been selected for the earlier attack. But you can always just cancel attacks and redefine them. And using the detailed view, it's fairly easy to do so. So if you have any other questions, let me know.